Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional this Wednesday. We've been talking about discipleship for the past couple of weeks, and I want to continue that with another reading from Dallas Willard today. He says, the mechanics of discipleship are not the same as they once were. We can't literally be with Jesus in the same way as his first disciples could. But the priorities and intentions, the heart or inner attitudes of disciples are forever the same. In the heart of a disciple, there is a desire and there is a decision or settled intent. The disciple of Christ desires above all else to be like him. Given this desire, usually produced by the lives and words of those already in the way, there is a decision to be made, the decision to devote oneself to becoming more like Christ. The disciple is one who, intent upon becoming Christ-like, and so dwelling in his faith and practice, systematically and progressively rearranges his or her affairs to that end. By these actions, even today, one who enrolls in Christ's training becomes his pupil or disciple. And if we intend to become like Christ, that will be obvious to every thoughtful person around us, as well as to ourselves. Of course, attitudes that define the disciple cannot be realized today by leaving family and business behind to accompany Jesus on his travels around the countryside, but discipleship can be made concrete by loving our enemies, blessing those who curse us, walking the second mile with an oppressor, in general, living out the gracious inward transformations of faith, hope, and love. So, Saints, as we've talked about discipleship over the last few weeks, we've noticed that there's a difference between what Jesus' original disciples had to do and what we today have to do. We've seen kind of the challenge that both the church and individuals have in following Jesus, and we've looked at some of the things that we might have to give up in order to be his disciples today. But in this particular reading, we hear about some of the things we might have to take on. Some of the ways that we reshape our lives, our attitudes, our direction, our purpose. And Willard points out that being Jesus' disciple is once again a matter of making our lives look more like his. So what did his life look like? It looked like the life of someone who had great compassion, who had an attitude of generosity and of kindness, of grace and mercy and peace, an attitude of someone who forgave the people who hurt him, who blessed the people who cursed him, who didn't fight back against those who would oppress him. Those are not attitudes that are very popular in our modern culture. And so those are definitely ways that if we choose to be Jesus' disciple, we are going to look different from the world around us. I think that's a critical part of discipleship. How does it make us different? How does it call us to a different kind of life than the one that we are living for ourselves? Have you ever thought about the question, what is it that makes you Christian? Or what would change if you stopped being a Christian? If you woke up tomorrow and decided you don't believe any of this stuff anymore and you're done with it, what actual concrete specific behaviors and practices in your life would change? I don't know that many of us have thought about that in great detail, beyond probably not going to church anymore or participating in those activities. Do we really know what would be different? And Willard is really pointing out that if your life is patterned after Christ, you should look quite a bit different from the rest of the world around you. You should be a person whose attitudes and whose behaviors stand out for being different. Because if you are a person who forgives the people who are hurtful to you, if you are a person who is charitable towards those who society doesn't seem to have any value for, if you are self-sacrificing, if you give of yourself and you give more than you expect to get from anyone else, well, that sets you apart. Those are Christ-like attitudes and behaviors that will make you look different from the world around you. So, Saints, I want you to think about it this week. What is it that you do that you would not be doing if you were not trying to follow Jesus? And if that's a hard question to answer, well, then what else might change in your life in order to make that more clear. That's your devotional this week, and I hope it's helpful for you. I hope it's worth thinking about. Hope you are doing well and staying healthy, and I will be praying for you. Please keep praying for me, saints, and I'll see you all again soon. Y'all take care.